Over the last decade or so, Send International has been increasingly focused toward ministries among unreached people groups, sometimes called UPGs. These are like cultural groups that have little or no access to the gospel message and may have a very tiny percentage of evangelical believers, if any. Geographically, these people groups are focused in what we call the 1040 window, an area across North Africa, the Middle East, India, and into Asia. We've talked about the 1040 window in other posts. We'll invite you to check those out through the links after this video. As I've spoken to groups around the world, I've often had a particular reaction rise up as I've raised the idea of unreached people groups, and particularly those that are far away. The reaction goes something like this. Mags, we don't need to go very far, and certainly not to the ends of the earth to find unreached people. In fact, they live right here in our city. They live in our neighborhood, and I work in the same office as unreached people, and our kids have friends in their classroom or on their soccer team. These are unbelievers. They have not received the gospel. They are unreached. Why then this emphasis on faraway places? Well, for the terms that we're using today, we don't consider those people as being unreached. Why not? Because you are there. If I could say it another way, they are in range of the gospel message because there is a community of Christ followers with sufficient resources and size to effectively evangelize that people group among which they live. By using the idea in range, we of course don't mean only geography. What we mean is that God has opened the way for a messenger. He has provided the message through someone of whom at least three things are true. That messenger must have embraced the good news of the gospel. And 2 Corinthians reminds us that we have this treasure in simple jars of clay. Number two, that messenger must be able to communicate clearly and speak a common language with those unreached peoples. And thirdly, that messenger must be willing to be prepared so that they can share that gospel message, the very message of God's love, with clarity, with conviction, and in a compelling fashion. We would readily acknowledge that technology can help advance all of this, but also realize that God still primarily uses authentic relationships with Christ followers to bring lost ones to Himself. This is a classic situation where I would like to steer us clear of either-or thinking and toward both-and. In other words, we need to balance two priorities. The first is local ministry. Should we, as a Christian community, in our local context, be reaching out to unbelievers, and particularly perhaps to those who have recently come and maybe immigrants or refugees? Yes. And should we not also have a view to global ministry? Should we not also prayerfully and intentionally and urgently be thinking of those places that have little access to the gospel and who are much less likely to come to us than we are to go? Friends, our statistics tell us now that in the global movement, these are severely imbalanced, and we are investing far more here, some estimate less than 10% here, toward reaching the unreached. It's been reported on the joshuaproject.net that 86% of Buddhists, Hindus, and Muslims have never personally met a Christ follower. I don't want to get hung up on numbers, and these things are hard to measure. But if that figure is even remotely close to being accurate, can we not agree that we need to seriously reconsider our investment of resources toward reaching the unreached? Thanks for watching. This video is part of our series to raise awareness and understanding of unreached people groups and to invite prayerful reconsideration of our efforts to reach them with the gospel. Topics include where are UPGs located, the difference between people groups and nations, and a sticky one, financing global missions. We invite you to subscribe so you don't miss any of these posts, and we'll provide some links here so you can check out the library.